Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Adobe Photoshop Elements Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster. Wanted to know how to get rid of the arm here on this photo and leave the children. The problem is using the clone stamp tool is that we're not going to be able to clone stamp enough with this being the only portion of the couch that's showing. There's such a small portion it's going to show as a repetitive clone and it'll be really obvious. So in this particular case, I think the best thing to do is to take out the arm and the whole couch and replace it with another couch. So let's go ahead and do that. First we're going to start with a small eraser. We'll grab the eraser. Let's actually unlock this layer and we're going to make the eraser small. This looks right about good at 20 point because it is a pretty big picture. And we'll start down here and we're basically just going to cut out the children little by little and take it from there. Now when it comes to the hair area, since the hair matches the same color as the couch, we're going to make this a little bit bigger so that it's a little bit softer, the cut. So we'll just bring it over to here and just kind of go along with the hair here. Okay, so now that we've finished cutting out the edges of the children, now we want to cut out what we don't want to keep, which is going to be all this upper area here, all this stuff here. So let's go ahead and grab the polygon lasso tool, and we're going to start down here and start cutting in between where we erased so that we can cut out what we don't want. And the reason why we used a small soft eraser was so that the edges of the photo are not super sharp. I could have done this like this just using the lasso tool alone, but the edges of the photos that we're cutting out would be too sharp and jaggedy had we just used the lasso tool. And that's why we use the soft brush first. It is a little bit longer process. It takes a little bit longer to do this. You have to have patience, but you know what? The result is a much more believable cut because real photos, as I always say, do not have sharp edges, no matter how sharp you think they are. As soon as you zoom in on them, you really notice how fuzzy all edges are on photos to begin with. So that's why we start with the soft eraser first. And now that we've cut out what we don't want to keep on the photo, I'm going to go ahead and close the ends of this polygon. I'll come across to the side of the picture, come down here where I started, where I meet up, double click, and that closes and leaves the marching ants. So when I zoom out, and as soon as you hit delete, boom, everything is gone that we don't want, leaving us just the children. And all we got to do now is find us a nice couch that's sort of similar. I just happen to have one right here. And let's go ahead and first get rid of the white part of the couch. So make sure that the layer is unlocked. This time we can actually use the magic tool. And let's set that to a tolerance of 50%. And go ahead and click up here and you can see it's grabbed pretty much everything except for the bottom here, the shadow. But it's okay because we're only going to use this portion right here for the children. As soon as I hit delete, boom, everything is gone. And I can deselect by hitting a Control D. And there we go. Now we got us a couch all by itself. I'm going to drag that project over to my current project up there in the tab. As soon as I bring it down and let go, there's our couch. All we got to do is put it in the right layer, and that's going to be underneath. Put it down here. And as I was saying before about the perspectives, as a matter of fact, it's the size. So I can go like this, and go like that. And look what's happening. It's starting to look pretty darn real. I'm going to zoom out right around there, and we like that. So we enlarge the couch to fit the children here, and I'm going to resize the whole photo by using the cropping tool to get rid of all the extra portion of the couch that we didn't want. Now what's really important is two things. One, the brightness of the couch is too bright, and two, there's no shadows from the children. So let's start with the brightness of the couch on its own. So we're going to click that layer, go to Enhance, Lighting, and Brightness, Contrast, and let's go ahead and play with this contrast. See that? We want to make sure it's similar to contrast as the original photo. Let's bring the brightness down, and there we go. That's looking a lot better there. Here's the before and after. Before and after. It's looking a lot better. Now let's go ahead and create a false shadow of the children behind the couch. You can do it by either copying their photo and then making it all black and then fuzzing it. But in this case, I think we're going to do it by hand. So the couch is the bottom layer here. The children are in the top layer. Let's go ahead and create a layer in the middle by choosing the bottom layer and hit new layer. It'll automatically make a new layer just above the one that was chosen. Here's a new empty layer. What color do we want it? Let's go over here to the color picker and go over here and click on black and hit OK. That makes our brush black. Next, we'll go ahead and grab a brush, and we want this brush to be really big because it's going to be a shadow and not a hard-edged brush, a soft edge. So we click here, and let's choose something like here's 300 point, and that might be big enough. As a matter of fact, I think I want it much bigger. Let's try something like 500 point. See, this looks really good. Now I'm going to softly add a shadow here. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow here. In between here, like the original photo was really dark down here. And right here, this would be representative of the shadow the children are casting on the couch itself. See, that's looking pretty good. And that's the first layer of shadows. Now let's make a second layer of shadows, which is going to be a little bit darker, closer to the edges of the children. So I'll make a new blank layer. We already have the black picked, but we want the brush to be a little bit smaller. So we'll go back down to like a 200 point, and I'll just go ahead and go along here like that. And just do a little dabbing, making sure it's nice and dark right along the children there. Now we can play with the opacities here, but I think we're pretty good there. Maybe I'll lessen this one by 25% and make it about 80% until this is really believable here. They got nice shadows going on behind them. It looks like they're sitting on the couch, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Well, this is Rich for this tutorial, calling it quits, saying over and out.